Morning. So we're starting a new simon today. Shin Lamed Daled Dinei Deleka b'Shabbos. These are the halachas of a fire, Rahman Islan, on Shabbos. Says the Mechaber, Nofla Deleka b'Shabbos. If a fire starts on Shabbos, Imu Belayla Kodim Suda. If it starts on the night, Friday night, before you've had the Suda, Yochel Hatzil Kadei Mozen Shalosh Sudas. You're allowed to save Mozen Shalosh Sudas, food for the 3 meals, the Friday night, Shabbos day, and Shalosh Sudas. Whatever is needed for a person, for a human being, and whatever is needed for an animal, for your animals. And on Shachris, i.e., you've already had the Friday night meal, then Mozen Shtei Sudas, you have you can save enough food for 2 meals. Of Mincha Mozen Suda Achas, only 1. Because that's all that's left. You just got shalosh left. For dafka bnei abayis at leikaboy, and dafka the house where the fire is started. Then lo yatzilu yoser mishum deikal lemecha shemetoich shetrudim bat sola yishkachu Shabbos v'yichabu. The concern is that if we don't allow him, that ki lo yatzilu yoser, you're not allowed to save more things. You're only allowed to save that 3 meals, 2 meals, 1 meal. Because the person is very torrid, preoccupied with saving Yishkechu Shabbos, he might forget it's Shabbos v'yichabu, and he might extinguish, which would be over the issa of kibui on Shabbos. But those homes which are nearby, surrounding, they can save as much as they want. They're not limited to 3 meals at the outset of Shabbos. Okay. So the nearby. No, so we're going to see in the footnote exactly how you define that. What do you have? What do you do with the block of flats? What do you do with things like that? Is that what you mean? Yeah. So we'll see in a second. We'll see in the footnote. So says the Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Aleph Yochel Lahatzil Ein Lekam Sif Yud Aleph Ulahatzil Mebayas Lechotze Shaloi, to go from the house to the Chotze Yeshem Yochel Lahitzi Kol Masha Yirtzeh. That we allow. To take into the front yard, you can take as much as you want. With a shachris mozain mozen, habach kosav. The Bach says, very interesting. If it's after chatzos, because once it's been chatzos, if you look at the footnote 4, the you've got to have your lunch meal before chatzos. I know people are makbid on this. Shekva of azmana, because the zman has been. You've got to have your lunch. What? It's difficult in the absolutely. So chatzos is 1 o'clock, and you've got a few kadeshim, and you run out. Sometimes lunch doesn't start till 1:30. But I go to Ashkom, so I always wash after kiddush and the morning, so I'm okay. But I get it. If you go to a main minyan, it can sometimes be a struggle. Okay, so he therefore says that after chatzos you can only save 1 meal. But the Prima Godim but the Prima Godim is not so. It questions this. Shadlei kaboy rotzolema alkein valkein vaday bohol, and therefore the person in whose house there is a fire, he is definitely bohol. But if you allow it, you might come to extinguish. Here we asa lahatzil kadesh that you might come to extinguish. You shouldn't extinguish. V'gabi mace, however, when it comes to a mace, if Rahman understands there's a mace in the house, we allow it. So which one is it? Is it here where the concern is you might be bahul and you might come to extinguish, and therefore it's also to save more. But when it comes to a mace in the house, it's the opposite. We are matir lahatzil kadesh lo yichbe. He shouldn't extinguish. So which way does it go? So Kamosha Kosav Rish Simon Shin Yudalef. So Kosu Atayfsis, this is the answer. To be mace Odom Bohol Olov Tfei. When it comes to a mace, Rachon Lisan in the house, a person is totally bohol. He's very confused and all over the place. And therefore we allow him to take the mace out, they shouldn't on purpose put out the fire. It's money, it's not as serious as a mace there. And we're not going. If we don't allow him to save, he's not going to put the fire up amazed. And therefore the concern is, if we allow him sort of with no limitations, he might, because of his tirda, because of his preoccupation and his stress, he might come to put out the dleika. That's the difference between the two. Okay, hakrovim she'enam abuhulim kol kach. So this restriction, you're only allowed to save 3 meals on Friday night, 2 Shabbos day and 1 in the afternoon, is only for the house itself. But those who are nearby, they're not bohul kol kach. Now, what is nearby? So if you look at footnote 6, he says binyan mashutav sheyesh b'kamadiros. If you've got like a block of flats or something like that, das hagon nissen kareletz. Even if you've got a delika in one of the house, one of the flats, one of the apartments, the whole apartment block has got the same din as the house or the apartment where there's a fire in it, and the entire apartment block can only limited to saving 3 meals because it's considered one entity. Fa'im b'sefer Nezi Yisrael, shehevi b'shem shulchan atzei shittim, shekosov, defi ma shemevu elekam b'sif chavov b'haga, the bizman hazeh she'anu shruyin bein einam Yehudim. Nowadays we're living amongst non-Jewish people. V'yesh chashash sakonas nefashos, and there's sakonas nefashos. If you've got fires going and there's sakonas nefashos, and you're living amongst non-Jewish people, if you don't put the fires out, it could be problematic. So mutar lechabos, you're allowed to extinguish. Even if in the house where the fire is, it will be allowed. So you can save whatever you need to. And so too with muksa things, and so too in the neighbor's house, because the person is going to be bohol, we're not going to make a gzeir that the person is bohol, is so confused, he might come to extinguish. Because nowadays it's actually allowed. And it's not so certain. On the contrary, because a guy is bohol, he might come to do a whole bunch of other malachas. He might carry into Rosh Hashanah, and similar. If his barrel breaks the top of his roof, those who are makel, and you have to protest against them. So if you've got some money to save your mois, you're allowed to save if it's not being over an issa deraisa. And so to this het says the same thing. If he questions it, that's referring not just to the balabayas, but his whole mishpacha. But other people who are a bit more detached and they're not as bohol, kol kach, they're not as confused and stressed. They can take out for this person, even money. Which is according to the second, the yesh matirim, which is in the next sif, we'll do in a sec. Okay, so just very briefly, what have we said to summarize? That if for Rachmana litzlan there's a fire on Shabbos, Chazal say you can only save food that you need for Shabbos. So it's Friday night, you can save 3 sudas. The Shabbos day, 2 sudas. In the afternoon, only 1 suda, because the concern is a person is bohol al namoine, and you might come to do other isurim if you allow him more than that. So it's limited, but it's limited to the family itself. But other people can save more, and we'll see now in Sif Beis what else can they take out. So let's just do base quickly. V'yesh matir nataltal mois. There are those who are allowed to take even money. So if there's a fire, they can take out money or jewelry or whatever it is, or dvarim hamuksim or muksa items. Kadei lahatzilam mipnei adleika, because of a fire. If there's a threat of burglary or something like that, you can take out even mukta items. Because in a case of loss, we push aside mukta. However, there are those who ask, and there are even those who say that if your merchandise is going to get ruined because of rain, there are those who prohibit you to move that as well. It says the Mishnah Berurah, yesh matirim. There are those you can be matir, you can save your money. Dafka in another house who are not bohol, but not for those in the house itself where there's a deleka, then only you can save it. Together, another Jew can come in and save your money, that would be allowed, as per Sifalef. Letaltel, Taimam, and the reason why they're matter is the lomdu meheldo atir lefisha hichshich baderech lohelich kisoi pachas midalad amas kadesh loyase issa chomer mimenu v'yolech yison lehedja. Do you remember this? If you come Friday afternoon and it suddenly gets dark and it's Friday night and you've got your money purse on you, they allow you to carry, Chazal allow you to carry pachas midalad amas. because otherwise you might come to do something more serious. Who adin namikan hitiru is a tilta muksa. They allow you to carry your money, to save the money, and to push away the muksa. Kadesh leyavi lechabes adleka. You might not come to something more serious. For gam be'anosim hitiru kadesh leyavi lehotzei som b'rish rabim leheja. You might not come to carry and do an issa deraisa of hotzah into rish rabim. The tam ha'isrim, and the time of those who ask this, tisfirlu the dafka misha hichshich baderech. Who should tirlo kadesh lo yehi esur rabba? Yaseh esur rabba, because there, if you're carrying on Friday night, you might come to do a bigger issa of carrying properly in Ishus Rabbim. If there are burglars coming, there's less of a concern. You're not going to take it outside. You're not going to take out all your money and your muksa things because you don't want to show your valuable items to the anosim, to the burglars. You're scared to show it to them. We're not worried because we worry the fire is in the next door house and it is not in your house, so we're not worried about that. We're not, you're not that bohol yet. Because of Sif Aleph. In the Bach is actually, he comes down on the side of the Matzirin that allows you to save Mo'os mipnei adleika and mipnei anosim. Ve'etiku kama achronim in dvar, and other achronim follow that lenient line. Mishum de'ikla mechash kiven de'ein odem ma mid atzmei al mamone, because we're concerned the people, they're not going to stand by when their money is going to be burnt or stolen. Either way, he'll say, I'm going to do an issa, and he'll do worse things. And you'll come dig in the ground and you'll hide them. So if you don't allow him to do it, you might come to do much more serious things. In a time of storm, which is, in the 1940s, and anyone can come and it's sort of, it's a free range. You're allowed to take your money and your precious belongings chutz le'erev einshon. V'ayin le'el b'simen shin aleph sif lamed gil b'hagov v'tazu magen avrom prim god mishom de'in mutter ki im k'shenoisen shelo b'derech etzah. That's only allowed if you carry it with a shinui. The hainu bein big del b'sarav v'chol ki agavna. You don't carry it in the normal way. That's when we allow you to escape with your money. The b'mokum pseida sif cotton zayin v'chol zeh dafim pe'ad leika ay halistim shebol harbe. Avlim yardu geshomim. But if it's just a heavy storm, rain, al schera hamuksa on muksa items, merchandise, vaday also l'tatala de Yisrael, you can't get it. Yisrael can't do it. That's much less bahol, and you can't do that. And you get a non-Jewish person to help you. V'yesh misha oisa who das harashba. We'll see the details of that in a second. Now v'yesh misha oisa, that's going on at the very end. If your rain is coming down and spoiling your merchandise, yesh misha oisa who das harashba. V'ayin el b'simen shinzayin sifhei sosem shom ha'mechaber kadas harishona shen nisod b'stomet kadas harambam t'isa shvus muta alidei eni Yehudi b'mokum shetzorich l'dov v'tzorich harbe. That you're allowed to tell a non-Jewish person to help you if it's going to be a big loss. But tzorich harbe v'ayin shom maskonas ha'mogen avrom the dafka b'mokum sheish hefsid godlev. If it's going to cause a big loss, you can tell a non-Jewish person to help you save this loss. V'ayin le'el shin zayin sif yutes hainu the shom sosam ha'mechaber b'dei harishona the muta le'me kol ha'matzil ein mafsid. The way you do it is you say kol ha'matzil, anyone who helps me save this merchandise, ein mafsid, which you're hinting that you'll see him right after Shabbos, but you can't actually say that. You do it in that sort of way. Even though the non-Jewish person will understand that he'll be compensated, rewarded, paid after Shabbos. Okay, say it. We'll leave it there.